All right, cool. We are
Hello,
here.
Casper.
Hello, Jeff. Thank you for doing this. Thank you for taking the time to talk to us all the way here in Denmark.
Thanks
Um,
for having me on. I really appreciate the opportunity.
anytime, anytime. Um, yeah, so I don't know if a lot of people here in Denmark know you. I don't know if you have any insights to how many viewers you have in Denmark, but maybe you can talk a little bit about who you are and what you do.
Sure. I was raised in a suburb of Detroit. Went to college, had a full time job, dropped out of college, quit my job to play poker for a living. This is about 16 years ago. Mainly just played on Poker Stars back in the day, and was pretty successful in tournaments up until Black Friday. Um, Things were going well. I moved to Vegas in 2008. And after Black Friday happened, I moved to Vancouver for a year, and it was a mixed bag of profitability versus expenses, and just very frustrating situation to leave the states to play online poker. So in the end, I focused more on live tournaments in Las Vegas, um, and just survived. I'm one of the few tournament pros that's never scammed anybody, never went broke. So I think those two things really set me up and above all other poker pros, unfortunately.
Yeah, what was it like to? I mean, what was the reason why you guys? I understand that you had to move out of the country because it was illegal to play online poker. But why didn't you just make the step directly to live poker? Was it just not? It wasn't not a big base for it, or
Not too much, not enough good tournaments in Las Vegas to really sustain that. Combined with like the sample size of just a few tournaments a week, um, the swings are even bigger when you can't put in the volume like you can online. I didn't really want to travel because that's just more expense and hassle. Just obviously, a real tough way to make a easy living, as they say. And I've just always been bitter about, not being able to play online after Black Friday. But a lot of things have changed since then, and there's other sites that are operating in the U.S. WSOP, Ignition, Bovada, Bet Online, um, a couple others. And it's kind of a gray area, but it is a possibility to play online, and you got to make the best of any situation that's given to you. So here I am. Been an ACR pro for 2.5 years, and they got great tournaments. Really like the site, like the staff, and I'm happy playing on there almost every day on Twitch.
cool? How did you get interested in poker, and for how long? I mean, I remember. I think my interest in poker is I started playing in junior high school with friends for nickels and dimes and stuff like that. But then when rounders came out, that kind of got me a little bit more interested. And then afterwards, when the the moneymaker boom and the WPT tournaments shown on TV, and that really started it for me. What was it like? What started it for you?
Very similar home games with the buddies. We didn't even have chips. We had a deck of cards and bags of change, and we just bet with nickels and dimes and quarters, and occasionally a dollar. If you throw a dollar in the pot, you mean business.
Yeah,
Same thing, moneymaker boom. I used to play Magic competitively up until the year 2000, and David Williams was a big Magic player. And when he got second in the World Series of Poker main event, that's when it kind of hit me. It was like, wow, if he can win 2.5 million or whatever it was, why can't I? It made the dream possible. And just over a big sample size, playing cash games, tournaments online, you saw what your win rate could be on a daily or hourly basis. And the proof is in the pudding. The numbers don't lie, and I really love the game. Of course, over time, my love for the game has gone down. It's just not the same rush, not the same spark, but it's still a great game. It never gets boring. There's always something exciting that happens, infinite possibilities, infinite decisions. You can be creative, you can be nitty. A lot of different strategies can work, and that's what makes it a great game.
but you're primarily a tournament player, right?
Yeah, yeah. Online tournaments or live tournaments occasionally in Las Vegas. Sometimes I travel to like PCA or Los Angeles to play some bigger buy-ins, but I'm happy, hanging out at home, playing local Vegas tournaments at the Win primarily.
But what about cash game? That's not something you do that much.
Just a little bit, just like when friends are in town or you want to host a meetup game with viewers of the vlog. But just not as enjoyable for me. I get it. I like the freedom of cash games compared to tournaments. It's more definitely more luxurious to just come and go as you choose and play when you want, or just table select. The freedoms of not telling you when you have to go on break, when you can use the bathroom. It's like you're in prison. A live tournament's like prison. Okay, show up at this time. Here's your seat. Sit down. Don't move for 2 hours. Okay, you got 10 minutes to go to the bathroom. Come back. Okay, another 2 hours. Okay, now you can go to dinner. You can't leave. But I think that's part of it that makes it great because you get put into a unnatural situation where you're forced to be there no matter what. If you take a bad beat, you can't really just walk away and shake it off. You'll lose more chips. So you're just stuck there with the players. And live tournaments are fun when you're winning, and they're pretty miserable when you're losing because that's a lot of time and effort and face-to-face devastation that you encounter that is tough to handle sometimes.
I know what you mean. I've been there many, many times. But yeah, I think one of the things for me regarding cash games and tournament is that I think I have a better control over tournaments. I know what I put in, and then it's like, okay, when I lost or if I choose to make only one rebuy, I can kind of control it. But I get a little bit more scared of cash games because I'm scared to just spend too much money and losing too much money. I don't know if that's similar feeling you have, or is it?
Yeah, it's the biggest hurdle in poker is separating yourself from the money because like intrinsically we're all brought up to value money. And if you bet 120 bucks on the river as a bluff and someone calls you, you're like, damn, I just wasted $120. But a tournament, if it's a $120 buy-in, it's a different mindset. The chips don't have cash value, and it's just like, okay, whatever happens, happens. It's like play money, the money's gone. And a cash game, you can buy in for 300, go bust, rebuy 300, rebuy 300, and just it could be a downward spiral. Same thing in tournaments with reentries, but I think it's just more. Uh, Even though there isn't actually that's why casinos are so lucrative is because you change your money into chips and it kind of takes away um, the feeling of, oh man, I don't want to put $100 on this hand of blackjack. Oh, I'm just putting one black chip on this hand of blackjack. It's okay. It doesn't hurt as much when you lose. And I think that's a lot like that in tournaments where you just put your buy-in in, whatever happens, happens. And that's one of the secrets of being successful is devaluing the money and just treating it like a video game until you win. Then look at how much you won, and then you're like, wow, I just won 5 grand. This is great.
But I think that's also one of the difference between your vlogs and a lot of the other vloggers. That is that they are mostly cash game players, and your vlog is mostly tournaments. And one of the things I liked about your vlog is that you actually show when you lose, and it's not necessarily always just coming out on top. And I think that kind of painted a realistic picture for me. I could kind of relate to it. Yeah, was that some of your considerations when you started the blog that you wanted to show everything?
Yeah, that's a great point, and I have shown every single live tournament that I've played in the past 3.5 years. I was very lucky when I started the vlog to. It just happened by random circumstance where I was on my iPhone and I looked at the app and it said iMovie, and I was like, what is iMovie? And I opened it and it said, you can put like a couple videos together, save it and send it to a friend, a little vacation trip, or send a couple videos of your dogs playing. Then, oh, you can add some background music. Oh, you can add a little slow motion. Oh, you can add a little pop up. Like, oh, this is easy. And then I heard about there's such thing as poker vlogs on YouTube, and I was like, well, maybe I can make a poker vlog. I'm not a videographer. I'm not a professional editor or anything like that, but I know how to play a poker tournament. So from the very start, I ran insanely hot. Like if you look at my Hendon mob from like December 2017 to the first 2 months, I final tabled or won every single live tournament I played. And I recorded every single one. I didn't skip any. The comments at first were very polarizing. Either, wow, this guy never loses. Let's see all the losses, bro. And I just didn't. There wasn't even days available for me to lose. I just won everything. Of course, it was small stakes comparatively, like $200, like a $200 buy-in. I'd win for 10 grand, and just it's incredible. So a lot of people questioned whether or not I was being honest. A lot of people hated on me because they were jealous because I just kept winning everything. And then like reality sunk in, and then I showed like I'd go 20 tournaments in a row without cashing. And then like the spiteful haters really came into play in the comments. Like, yes, finally he's getting wrecked. Is he busto yet? You know, and most people aren't like that, but it really showed me how humans react to other people's success and failures. And I think that was like a good social experiment to see. I always read all the comments because I want to see what people think of what I'm doing, and I'm always trying to improve the vlog and just get good creative feedback. But yeah, for the past 3.5 years, I've shown every single tournament. So you get like you said, you get a good feeling of what it's like to be a professional tournament player. And it's really not the best formula to grow an audience, because in general, people like to watch vlogs or other stuff on YouTube that has happy endings. They want that feel good. They want that success. People don't like movies they don't want the bad guy to win. They want to see you be successful, but like you said, I'm 100% transparent when it comes to the actual reality of, you're going to lose, you're not going to cash, 80, 90% of the time. And the drive of shame, it's not fun. I lose the tournament. I'm tilted. I got tunnel vision. I hate the guy that just sucked out on me. I'm mad I just lost 3 buy-ins in this tournament. Now I got to do the half-hour drive of shame when it's 100 degrees out in a hot Las Vegas parking lot. I'm sweating, and I got to recap this hand into the camera as I'm doing the walk of shame out of the casino. And then to top it off, I got to go home and spend 5-10 hours editing this video, reliving every hand that led up to my ultimate demise. And that's what makes it bittersweet and somewhat special.
But thank you for doing it. I really enjoy watching your vlogs, I must admit. I like a lot of your punchlines,
and route,
among others.
Bag and tag, yeah.
Asian male.
Those were never really planned. The Asian male, a few people view that as like racist or whatever, but I think they understand. I'll see in the comments. What a lot of people don't understand is like the Wynn and other casinos. Since I know the floor men and the dealers, I'm cool with everybody. You're not really supposed to film at the table at any casino. You definitely can't film like blackjack or roulette in any casino, but it's like the same gaming regulations that Andrew Nemi and Brad Owen have had the same thing. They can't really put their cell phone behind their chip stack and show them playing at the Bellagio or the Wynn or anything. That's why they have to have meetup games where there's express written consent. There's signs up, you're going to be filmed. In my vlogs, the casinos told me, we like what you're doing. You're doing a good job at promoting our casino and everything, but you can't use people's faces at the table. That's like an invasion of privacy. And don't film like actually looking at your hole cards, because it might be on a live feed to somebody else. You might be cheating, even though I'm not cheating. So the biggest thing was for me to be able to describe my opponents without actually filming them. So you could just do a boring poker hand like, okay, I raise ace king, middle position flats, the button 3 bets, the small blind 4 bets, and I fold ace king. It's like, okay, well, that doesn't really tell me much. But if I say, an 80-year-old Caucasian woman 3 bets the small blind, that means a lot more than a 22-year-old Asian male. It paints a mental picture. I'm not being racist. I'm just describing my opponents based upon their age and ethnicity to give you an idea of what type of player that I'm playing against, because different player types emerge from what they look like and how old they are. That's the reality of it. So of course this offends some weak-minded people, but I'm not being racist. It's not like I always say, oh man, this idiot from Denmark check raised me. I hate people from Denmark. It's not like that. It's like You know, a 25-year-old European male with a scarf and a handbag check raise me. He could be bluffing. It's a paired board. He might be bluffing. But 80-year-old Caucasian female check raises me, probably not bluffing. And those are just the stereotypes that just ring true in tournament poker.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, there are people out there today who are very sensitive, and you can't. I mean, we have issues here in Denmark as well with people who are very sensitive. So, but I guess that's just the world we live in at the moment. And but I think it's fun. I love watching your vlogs. So just keep going. Don't mind those sensitive people.
Yeah, you can't please everybody. I've learned that in like the thumbs in on YouTube. The thumbs up, thumbs down ratio is a very good metric to see how people really feel about your video. If it's like 95% positive, 95% thumbs ups, that's effectively 100% thumbs ups. Because like 5% of people will just hate on anything. Like I've looked up, you know, some of the best music ever, like classical music or, you know, oldies, Smokey Robinson, and they got, you know, thousands of thumbs down. It's like, how can you hate on this,
Yeah,
you know? Or they'll hate on anything. So if I get 90 to 95% thumbs ups on a video, that's perfect.
yeah.
That means everybody liked it. I got 5% haters. That's fine. They're going to do what they do. And the best way of dealing with haters is just don't deal with them. Just block them. Don't respond to them. Don't give them the time of day because that's what they want. Just standard metagame. They want you to react. Don't react. Silence them. Don't feed the trolls.
But you don't. I mean, we've been. We tried to do some vlogs ourselves with the Pokercast. Started out doing the podcast, and now we're trying to do some vlogs ourselves. So I know how it's very difficult to actually make good content, and I think I guess it's more difficult doing it in Denmark. I mean, you guys in Vegas have casinos and stuff. We don't have all those opportunities, but I mean, it's a lot of work, and you want to, you want people to like it. So and you saying that you read all the comments, does it never bother you that some people, say stupid things or trash your vlogs? It never gets under your skin in any way?
Slightly, but you kind of get thicker skin, just like from playing poker. You take it so many bad beats, you kind of get used to it. As long as it's constructive criticism and it's not just straight insults like, "Hey man, you're ugly. Why do you talk like a robot? Go die." Okay, I'll just block you. That's not. But if like 50% of the comments say, "Man, you shouldn't have made fun of that guy from Denmark. He's a nice guy. So what if he sucked out on you?" Then I can look back at it and be like, okay, I was very emotional in the moment. I shouldn't have said that about him. I shouldn't have said a personal insult. That was out of line. You guys are right. But if it's just, just pure hatred, it's going to happen. It's funny, like you mentioned that, because one of my buddies was talking about starting a YouTube channel. He's also a poker player. And he came to me for all the info, all the stuff you got to do to the algorithm, the keywords, the titles, the thumbnails, the editing. And I told him, I'm like, listen, he has a wife and kid, and he said, I want to feature my wife and kids in my vlogs too, along with poker hands. And I was like, all right, it doesn't matter how nice your wife and kids are. There's going to be some idiots out there that say some mean shit to them. Are you prepared to deal with this? I mean, sticks and stones can hurt your bones. Words will never hurt you. But, a lot of people just can't handle it. And it does hurt. And it shouldn't hurt. And just blocking them is just definitely the best recipe, even though they'll make like multiple accounts, which is just sad. And it's like the same people, and they're the same people. But yeah, I'm used to it after 3 years, and it's gotten a lot better. There's like a learning curve, I guess. I don't know if that's the right term, where in my vlogs at the beginning, a lot of people didn't understand like my dry humor and why I wasn't more like upbeat and less monotone. And I realized that's not the proper formula for being a successful YouTuber, but that's just who I am. And eventually people appreciated my realness of the situations, because you'll look at the top YouTubers and they're all just like super high energy, super positive. Like, hey, what's up, guys? Hey, we're going to play a tournament. Oh, we lost the tournament. Oh, that's okay. We're still gonna have a great day. Oh, and I was like, nah, fuck. I just lost $1,000 to this idiot. He just robbed me, and that's just how I feel. Maybe that's too negative, but that's just, that's the competitive spirit that I have. And, it's going to show. I can't be fake for the camera, and I don't edit out hands I play horribly. And I just try to capture the experience in the moment as best as possible.
Are there any of the other vloggers that you watch yourself? Do you watch any of the other poker vloggers? Um,
Yeah. Andrew Nemi, Brad Owen, and Ryan DePaulo. I don't know if you ever seen him. He's really came onto the scene very strong. He's got like 50,000 subscribers now.
he swears a lot, doesn't he?
Like he's very controversial, and I kind of view myself as like a father figure to him. Just like saying, like, listen, bro, you can't be saying like homophobic stuff. You can't be saying racist stuff. We get it. It's comedy. You're controversial, but that's really crossing the line. But that's just who he is. He can dish it out. He can take it. We always like host each other on Twitch when we're done with tournaments. So he has like a very different audience than I do, even though we're both poker streamers, ACR pros or whatever. His chat is just so like out of line. Like the people, they'll say like the most horrible things, and I just don't let that shit fly in my chat. I'll just ban them. Maybe I'm being too strict. Maybe I'm too tight. What's the word, tight? Tightwad? No.
I know what you mean.
Strict. Uptight. Maybe I'm being too uptight. Yeah. But there's a line. I mean, if I start just saying mean things to you that are just like horrible, it's like, do I really want you in chat? Is this an environment that we want? Am I being too like a dictatorship or whatever they said? It's like, no, this is what I think is acceptable behavior. If you don't want to be in my chat, that's fine. You can go find someone else's chat to say horrible things. That's on you. So, it is a thing that I like to ban a lot of people in my chat. We have a ban hammer emote, drop it on them, and they're gone. So I think it's a problem solved, even though it's kind of against the idea of Twitch of you want as many people watching as possible because that's your popularity. But I'd rather have a quality chat than quantity.
I know you had some issues with your YouTube channel. Do you still have that, or do you know, have they figured that out of banning? Because I put up some videos also at a certain time, which I hadn't. I mean, it was years old, and suddenly I just got these notifications that I was gonna get kicked, and I didn't really know why, because I think I had like 10 views on them. So, I mean, is there any news on that? Have they solved it?
To summarize it, I haven't really done anything wrong, and they won't tell you what you do wrong, even if you do it wrong. It's just like a blanket warning that my content is harmful and dangerous, and there's no support to talk to. There are a few guys on Twitter that work at YouTube and have been able to like reinstate videos that they've removed in the past and remove my content strikes. But even when I reach out to them now, they're just like, no, there's nothing else we can do. It's nothing you did. We understand your pain. It's just our AI bot that is like a censorship bot that just gets triggered over certain words or certain things, whether it's the title, whether it's in the description, no information. I equate it to like, imagine I'm your girlfriend and I say, listen, Casper, if you do that again, we're going to break up. And you're like, well, what'd I do? And I said, you know what you did. Like, what?
Yeah.
Just tell me what I did. It won't happen again. I don't want to break up with you. And that's effectively what they've done. I got two pending strikes for 90 days. And it says specifically, if I get a third strike, my whole channel will be deleted and I'll be banned from YouTube. So it's, I'm really walking on thin ice here, or eggshells, just not knowing what's triggering the videos, and it's just completely random shit. So I have to wait 90 days to get the strikes expire till I'm on a clean slate again, and I can post videos. I did risk it and post the video of me going down the Las Vegas Strip and just giving a little update on my situation. Luckily, that didn't get deleted and banned. and people that say, oh yeah, your content is because you stereotype people, or you say the word gambling, like that might trigger it. I still have videos up there. I have 2 videos for me giving reviews and interviews with strippers in a strip club. Those are fine. I got 3 videos of me going to the porn conventions and hanging out with porn stars and them saying raunchy shit. Those are fine. But if I say online poker or gambling, maybe those are the keywords. I have no idea. There's like nothing in these videos. It's just completely random, and it's very frustrating. And at one point, they deleted 99% of my videos on Christmas this year, which was nice. And I get hundreds of messages, bro, where's your videos, bro? And I'm like, yeah, I know. And contacted someone on YouTube at Chen, and he was able to go into the system and reinstate them all and take my strikes away. But shit happens to me, and it happens to everybody. Brad Owen, Andrew Nemi, Ryan DePaulo, all just get videos randomly removed and get strikes. And it's not even for the songs. Like, I use copyrighted songs more than most people, and it gets rid of the monetization, so I don't get any revenue from these. I think that's a trade-off I'm willing to do to make the video better, but that doesn't do it. They don't care about that. It's not, people think it's the songs. It's not the songs. The artists get the money for the songs. They don't care. It's a very common thing.
So you don't you're not a YouTube professional, or you don't get any money from your YouTube channel at all? I mean, you have like what,
Oh no,
40,000 subscribers or something like that?
yeah, almost 40,000 subs. But I do get revenue. Not all of my videos are copyright infringed. Sometimes I'll just use like there's ways around it, like instrumentals or just short snippets. So like on a transition in between me like talking about a hand and then showing my chip stack, when there's like a dead air of just like a chip stack video, I'll put like an instrumental of a rap beat, and that doesn't really get flagged. But if it's like 10 seconds of Jay-Z rapping or Kanye or Tupac or Biggie, if you hear the words, the AI bot is more likely to pick that up, hit you with the copyright strike, and it just gets completely demonetized, and all the revenue goes to the artist.
I think they even do it if it's just a song playing in the background. I mean, if you're somewhere and it just plays in the background, it will pick it up.
Sometimes, depending on how loud it is compared to like what you're talking about.
Yeah. Wow. Crazy. Well.
Yeah, it's strict platform.
Yeah. 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 Anyway, one of the things I really wanted to talk to you about is this whole COVID situation, and especially Las Vegas, because yeah, as far as I know, most of Las Vegas is shut down. And you live in Vegas. What's it like to be in Vegas right now?
Well, ever since let's see, January, March. Ever since March 12th, I've avoided all contact with humans except for my girlfriend and our dogs. So I've been as safe as possible, and just haven't really gone and done anything. We can buy groceries online. I get a lot of frozen food. I've been to the strip once to do that video. Didn't get out of my car. Didn't have any contact with humans. It's a pretty strange thing. And actually, last night I just had these weird thoughts about how paranoid this is making the whole public, the invisible enemy, if you will. So you got to be afraid to touch anybody. You got to be afraid to touch objects. Your food might have some COVID on it. You got to cook your food. A package might have it. You got to leave your packages out for a week to make sure the COVID is dead. And I think this is like horrible, not only for the economy, but just for all of human morale, for everybody to live in fear and be anxious about, not having that human interaction anymore. I mean, hopefully this blows over and everything's fine and we go back to reality, but that's going to be tough with casinos. Even, the beginning of March, when all these cases were coming to America from China and Europe, a lot of people, Ryan DePaulo was in town. He's like, hey, play this 500 at the Win. And I said, no, I'm good, bro. I'm not risking that. That's like the worst environment you can imagine for the transmission of the disease. I'm stuck at a table, 6 inches away from guys on my left and right, and we're constantly trading chips with our hands. And let me tell you this: every casino's chips are the dirtiest thing you can ever imagine. Most of them have physical dirt on them, where it's just grime. But the invisible dirt and germs, and people don't wash their hands in the bathroom, and these are just degens. This isn't a sanitary environment, and most casinos don't even never wash their chips. They don't care. They should care, but they don't care. They don't want to invest in chip washing machines. There's accountability when it comes to the value of the chips and the machines, getting and paying employees to wash them by hand, sanitizing them. Huge petri dish for disease. And a lot of people thought I was being paranoid. But many people have reached out to me now and said, man, you're right. Glad I didn't play that live tournament. Even Bay 101 Shooting Star got, ICM chopped and canceled. My buddy Craig won it, just because they're like, wow, this is a dangerous situation.
But what is it? I mean, I'm sitting here in Denmark and watching the news and getting the news from what's happening in the States, and as far as I know, it's mostly it started in New York. It's pretty bad in New York. But what is it like in Las Vegas? Is there a lot of sick people in Vegas, or?
The numbers grew pretty quick, just because people weren't social distancing and not taking the problem seriously. But I think the numbers have flattened and are slowly going down over time. So hopefully, the measures that we've taken are working, and it's going to contain the virus, and it should be less active during the summertime. I just know a lot more people just walking around, walking their dogs, but staying at a distance from each other. It's just so weird to view each other as the enemy.
Yeah.
We're no longer a community. We're all, in fear of each other, which is just not good long term. And I watch these press conferences with Trump. I'm not into politics or anything, but the more I watch them, like before, it was kind of giving me anxiety because it's so doom and gloom. Like, what's going on? Is this the end of the world? But now I find a little bit of humor on like how he talks to reporters and stuff. I don't know if you ever watched like Trump news conferences.
Yeah, a little bit.
But it's like, at first I was like offended. I'm like, what? How can you like you asked me a question and I'm like, oh, he just goes off on him. Like, it's so unprofessional. But no politics. You just got to make light of what a ridiculous situation we're in, and that's our leader. Whatever.
No, but I mean, it's crazy to think about that the whole world is in the same situation at the same time, and it's. I mean, this whole scenario of economics just crashing at once everywhere. It's like nobody has ever thought that would happen, and that scares me more actually, I think, than the actual disease, because what will come after this, and how will we come back from it? What will, I mean, a town like Vegas is pretty much built on money that comes in from tourists and people come in to have a good time, but I mean, what's the unemployment rate like in Vegas right now? It must be like, I don't know, close to 100% or something.
Yeah, only essential workers, pretty much grocery stores, post offices, Amazon delivery services, stuff like that. Hospitals, police, fire. That's about it. Everybody else is just laid off, and I feel bad for everybody that is going to lose their business for being shut down. It's a true black swan event, and I'm lucky to be in a position where I can work from home, play on America's Card Room every day, stream on Twitch, and stay occupied. But I know a lot of people are getting stir crazy. A lot of people are fighting with their husbands and wives. They're stuck at home with someone that they usually only spend a few hours a day with. Now they're just stuck with them, and especially if you're in like a small apartment and you're worrying about bills, I can only imagine the stress that builds up in that type of situation. So I just have to count my blessings that I'm in a good situation where it could be a lot worse, and I could be a lot more paranoid if I lived with a lot of people that were coming or going, or being in a big congested apartment complex. But that's definitely why New York, it spread so bad, because everybody's like living on top of each other.
Have you heard anything about when Vegas is going to reopen? Is there anything out in the news about that, or?
Yeah, the Win released a statement yesterday that said beginning of May they're gonna do like a soft opening, and then I believe middle of May. But it had like a sheet with all these new procedures, which you can find it on Twitter. I believe Win tweeted it out, or Andrew Nemi retweeted it, so you can find it on his Twitter, where it shows all the procedures when it comes to like sanitization of all surfaces. And I believe everybody that enters will be checked by security with like a temperature check to see if you have a fever. I'm not sure how they're handling the mask situation. I know masks are often frowned upon in Vegas casinos due to security. You know, if you're going to rob the place, you're going to wear a mask. Although it seems like Asian people in general always kind of got a free pass at it with their mask usage. But the thing about masks are most Asians would wear them because they are sick. It's not that they're afraid to get sick; they just don't want to give their cold to somebody else. So they're doing it as a convenience for you, but I know a lot of people would frown upon them wearing a mask, like they're an outcast, like they're diseased. And that's just a new reality we're going to face when everybody's wearing a mask. It's going to make us even less intimate with each other and less trusting of each other because you can't see those facial expressions. You can only see their eyes. And I think the procedure's fine. And one of the funny things on the official Win list of things they're doing to make it a more sanitary environment. Oh, you got to be socially distanced. How are dealers going to go back to work? How, waitresses? Are six people going to sit at a blackjack table? Or you just got to have one chair in between everybody? It's going to be a weird situation. The one thing in the whole list of all the sanitary things they're doing is when they talked about the chips, they said, we're considering washing the chips.
Oh,
Like,
that's good.
we're thinking about it. You know,
Yeah. It's not.
end of the world will wash the chips.
How do you think Vegas will come out of this? I mean, obviously, it must have a. I can't. I mean, a giant impact on casino economy. You think there are any? I mean, will any casinos close down, or will it? Do they have a bankroll big enough to sustain this?
I think it's just going to be a gradual process as people regain trust in other humans and the disease and the system. Um, One optimistic way to look at it is I'm not saying that people are overreacting with the social distancing and trying not to get COVID, but imagine if it was like 100% death rate. Like, how much more scared of the disease would you be? When in reality, it might be 1 or 2% chance you're going to die. It's going to suck. You can't breathe. You're going to be on a ventilator for a week before you die. Pretty sad way to go out. But imagine if it was 90 or 100%. Can you imagine how much more paranoid people would be of this disease? Of course, it's good to have these safeguards in place and lower the chance of getting it. But then there's another way of looking at, the immunity factor. Once you get it, you can't get it again. So people have said this. I'm not sure if it's the right way to think about it, but should you just get it? Just get it out of the way. And then do you want to be paranoid for years? Oh, I already got that shit. Is that how we're going to get vaccinated? Is that how we're going to get treated? Like snake venom. Maybe that's better. Just get it over with. A week of hell under, a nurse supervision, pay a couple grand, and then you're immune. And that's what they're talking about the future. Well, you're going to have like an app on your phone to say, yeah, I got it. I can't get it again. I'm good. Don't worry about me. Or, oh, I haven't got it. Oh, do you have symptoms? Oh, is there swabbing, testing? There's just a lot of steps in place before things go back to normal. And I hope, the president and local governors make good decisions when it comes to how they're going to go forward with this. And like you said, opening the economy, the old how many lives are going to be lost to the disease compared to how many lives are going to be lost by people going broke, chaos on the streets, robbing, stealing, looting, just people just desperate times call for desperate measures. And I hope it doesn't come to this, but how long can we go on with no income and just the economy just completely crashed?
Yeah, that scares me actually more than the disease itself because I mean, in Denmark we don't have the same regulation on guns, for instance. It's only people who hunt and stuff like that who can have guns at their houses. But I mean, in the States, I think, I don't know how many people own guns, but it's a lot more than in Denmark. And desperate people do desperate stuff. So and desperate people with guns can be pretty dangerous, I guess. So yeah, I hope it doesn't get worse than it is right now, because yeah, I was planning on going to Vegas soon, but yeah, I have to postpone that for a while, I guess. But yeah, I mean, it's horrible for all the people working there, and just seeing their livelihood just being put on hold like that. That's terrible. Yeah.
Yeah, you can make the best of it. Look at it as a vacation at home with your friends and family. You can still FaceTime them, do whatever you got to do. A lot of people that work 9 to 5s, they say, hey, I don't have time to do this at home. I don't have time to do the lawn yard work or clean the bathroom. Now you got time. You got no excuses. I don't have time to work out. Now you can work out. I don't have time to, hang out with my kids and family and play with the dogs. Now you got time. Grass is always greener. People always want what they can't get. Not to make light of the situation, but be proactive about it. Don't be all doom and gloom. Woe is me. Do something about it to make your life a better situation, even if you're not making income. Of course, there's stimulus checks, unemployment. That's going to help some, but like you said, grand scheme of things, horrible for the economy. Obviously, we need things working, and horrible for Vegas because people come here to hang out with other people, drink, gamble. If you don't want to fly, you don't want to be in a casino with people, why would people come here?
Yeah. Yeah, I hope to get back soon. I mean, I've been to Vegas about 5 or 6 times last year. I was in Vegas playing the WSOP, the Big 50, which was just an incredible experience. But I watched some of the video I shot last year, and looking at that, looking at the Amazon room, all those people sitting there playing with chips and just sitting so closely. I mean, it's like coming from all over the world. There's going to be, a disease like that was just going to spread like a fire in a, yeah. So, yeah, I can't see the World Series of Poker happening anytime soon. And that was actually another question I wanted to ask you. Do you think that the WSOP is going to be on anytime soon, or are they going to postpone it, or maybe even cancel it this year? Do you know anything about that? Have you heard anything?
Yeah, I heard on Twitter that they postponed it to the fall. I haven't read much upon it, as I just woke up and got everything situated for this interview. But what I heard is postponed to the fall. They're just going to play it by ear, which would actually be nice. Vegas in the summer, not very fun. Like I said, you see me busting out of a 1K, walking through the 120-degree parking lot into my 150-degree vehicle. Not great. I always wanted like a winter series of poker, when it's like 20 degrees Celsius out in the winter. That's great. not 35 or whatever.
What's your relationship to the WSOP? Do you play it every year? Or?
Yeah. Oh yeah. They're great events, huge fields. I haven't been very profitable at the World Series of Poker overall, but I think that just comes with variance and big 50, 20,000 people. That's gonna be a tough one to win. But I've come close a few times. A couple final table bubbles. Pretty well known for not cashing the main event for 14 years in a row, and then I finally cashed it this year. So that was a monkey off my back, and yeah, it's a fun story to tell.
Yeah. How do you look at the fields in the WSOP? Are they soft, or does it depend on? I mean, what's your take on that?
Yeah, the WSOP does a lot of things wrong when it comes to. My number one complaint is always the chairs. Might seem petty, but if you're going to sit in a chair for 12 hours a day, they should at least invest in a better chair, a more comfortable chair. They refuse to do this. They have the same shitty chairs they've had for 10, 20 years because they don't, it's all about the money. They don't want to cut into the bottom line. But when they're raking 10% on every event or more, they can definitely afford to give a little back to the community. Also, last year, the numbers were so good, they were turning people away effectively because the lines to register were so long. It's like you could pay a cashier $100 an hour and you would recoup that because that'd be X amount of people that registered and paid rake that otherwise would just go to another casino because they don't want to wait a half hour, an hour to re-enter a tournament they just busted. The kiosks were a good start where you can register online and just print out your ticket. Hopefully that's more of a thing this year. But I know a lot of people that just didn't give them business because of the horrible lines. But like you said, the fields are as soft as you can imagine. And recreationals really love the branding of the World Series of Poker and just the idea of winning a bracelet, which I think is hilarious because it's a faux pas to even wear your bracelet once you win it, which doesn't really make sense. I'd be fucking proud. Yeah, I won a 5,000 person event. Here's my bracelet. What's up, ladies? But you're not supposed to do that. Okay.
Yeah.
Like if I bowled a 300 game, I'd wear a 300 ring. That's an achievement. Is it? Are you showing off? I don't think you're not rubbing it in people's faces, right? You're not. It's not like you got your bank account statement on your watch on your. it's an achievement. But yeah, the WSOP branding is great. People love World Series of Poker events, especially like I said, recreationals. If they can travel from Arkansas and come play a $500 event, that's a huge momentous thing for them. And those are the softer types of players that we need in these tournaments to make the fields grow even bigger. And they did a great job with all the themed events, the Big 50, the Colossus, the 888. These get the biggest numbers. Whenever people ask me, hey, what event should I play when I'm in Vegas? I always say the weekend themed events of the World Series of Poker. The bigger the field, the softer the field. It's going to be tougher to win, but when you do win, you win 500 buy-ins. And you get that memory forever.
I think the guy that won the Big 50 won like $1.1 million or something like that, and he only made one shot at it. So that's a pretty good.
Yeah, 3,000 buy-ins or something.
Yeah, that was crazy. I mean, I remember I've always wanted to go and play at the WSOP, but the main event is just out of my league. So when they had this 500 buy-in, that was something that I could see myself playing. So I traveled all the way from Denmark to play it and had a great experience doing it. And yeah, but I mean, the lines were ridiculous. The registration line was like, I think people were waiting a couple of hours and somebody got there late to the table and stuff like that. So yeah, that's definitely something that they could do better. But I mean, I think maybe they got a little surprised about how many people actually showed up for that event because it was crazy. I don't know. Did you play the 500 or the Big 50?
Unfortunately, I had to go to Costa Rica to play in the America's Card Room Cage event, or else I would have been. It just conflicted with that opening weekend for some reason. So I was in Costa Rica. I would have played it for sure. I always pre-reg my tournaments. You can go to the casino and just register everything, so you don't have to wait in the lines. But most people don't do that, and you have to wait to re-enter anyway. Another huge pet peeve of mine when it comes to the World Series is they should stagger the bathroom breaks. Sure, you get 20 minutes, but when thousands of people all have to go to the bathroom at the same time, and there's 3 or 4 bathrooms available,
yeah,
95% are males. It's horrible. If you don't leave like a minute or two early, you might miss hands in 20 minutes waiting in a 20-minute line to use the bathroom.
Yeah.
So they could stagger those breaks or just bring in more bathrooms. I know there's porta potties outside. The numbers just don't add up.
No, I remember the first break. I went for the bathroom as well, and it was just like all the halls were just filled with people. So I just got back and waited 20 minutes into the level, and then it took like 2 minutes to go in and out. So if you're willing to miss a hand or two, you can do it that way. But it was ridiculous how many people were there.
Yeah.
So
you got to miss hands, or you got to sacrifice some hands to use the bathroom, and it shouldn't be like that. They can stagger the breaks where this room is now on break. You can use the bathroom. This room is now on break. But it might be tough to coordinate, but there's got to be a better solution. and even shutting down more of the female bathrooms. If there's just one female bathroom, that's more than enough for all the women, even if it might be farther out of the way, because just mass numbers, 95% male, we're going to need more bathrooms.
You said you played the main event 14 times, 15 times?
15 times, yeah, 15 straight years, yeah.
So you played at Binion's as well, or have you only played at the Rio?
No, I think my first year was 05. Yeah, 2 years after Moneymaker won, and Moneymaker wasn't at Binion's. I think that was the first year was at the Rio was Moneymaker, then Gold, then Hashem. Yeah, I think Binion's was 2001 maybe with Robert Varconi, 2002, right around there. But I have played at Binion's before. They had like 1K main events. It's not a very desirable destination, but I can see the pull, the draw of the nostalgia that comes with Binion's. Just North Vegas, downtown, pretty dirty, not very glamorous. I like the Wynn. The Wynn is my favorite casino. If you ever come to Vegas, go to the Wynn or Encore. Tell them Boski sent you. The floor men will treat you right. Dealers are great. People say I'm a shill for the Wynn. They don't pay me anything. I just speak the truth. Argue with me on why the Bellagio, the Aria, or the Venetian is better than the Wynn. You're not going to win. I mean, everything is better at the Wynn. You'll see if you don't believe me.
I've been there. I mean, I don't think I played poker there, but I've been there inside and walking around. I actually won $130 on a slot machine this last year.
Oh,
so
nice.
that's I like the win too. That was one of my biggest wins, I think. But we spent a lot of time going to because I was in Vegas with my brother, and he doesn't play that much poker. He likes to play blackjack, and it's just a little bit more expensive to play at the Wynn and at the Bellagio and stuff like that. So we went to the Nugget, the Golden Nugget, to play some blackjack, and I also played a bit of poker there. But I think the Nugget's a pretty decent place in Fremont Street. I can see how some of the other casinos are a little bit more old and yeah, but I don't know. Is it a shady area, Fremont Street, and that the old part of Vegas?
It's definitely dirtier, I guess you could say, and just more old school, not as luxurious. I wouldn't really feel in danger in the main parts, but I've walked off the beaten path downtown North Vegas, and it's a pretty bad part of town. You're pretty safe in all Las Vegas casinos, security. I wouldn't really worry about that, but if you walk a mile into the residential area, you're going to see a lot of just low-income housing and just rundown apartment buildings, a lot of drug dealers, prostitutes. So that's kind of what happens in a gambling community. You're going to have your winners, you're going to have your losers, you're going to have your homeless people, degenerates, people addicted to gambling and drugs, and there's the good side and then there's the bad side.
Yeah, definitely. Another thing I wanted to talk to you a little bit about is the whole Mike Postle case, because I know you've had a little bit to do with that case. You played against Mike at the Stones Casino, right?
Yes, a few times, and was able to make a lot of videos about the situation after it came to everybody's attention when Veronica Brill was mainly the whistleblower on the situation. She did commentary for a lot of the live streams, and you could actually see in one of the streams where she looked at the other guy and said, "Something isn't right. What's going on here? Something ain't right." And the guy's like, "Yeah, that's pretty weird. He always wins. Why does he win so much?" And put like 2 weeks of my life I just dedicated to reviewing the live streams from the Stones YouTube channel and just breaking down hands that just were unfathomable. And it's something I never really mentioned when I made like 6 or 7 different vlogs about it, just highlights with my commentary, was even if you don't really know much about poker, just look at how he plays and think about, if you knew everybody's cards, what would you do? Okay. There's different strategies you can implement, as a poker player, but just watch these videos, pause it, be like, okay, if I knew he had Jack 10, if I knew he had Ace King, this is the flop. What would be the best play when I have pocket deuces? Okay, well, let's wait to see a flop, see what they flop. Okay, no one has anything. My deuces are magically good, so I should bet for value. Okay. And if you can just watch every single hand and put yourself in his shoes and think about what you would do if you had this magical information, it just poker's a game of incomplete information. And if you have all the information, you can make a lot better decisions. And this case is going to court. Not sure how much I can discuss, but I do have some fear that a jury of 12 non-poker players will be able to understand what was going on and the likelihood of somebody playing this well over a long sample size. I hope more math is brought into the case than actual, like, oh, he check raised Ace King here. How do you know Ace King was good? The average public might not be able to wrap their head around that. So statistical improbabilities and just mannerisms. I mean, it's hard to quantify without the smoking gun of the magical cell phone or, the digital evidence. I don't know what they have. I guess we'll have to wait and see. The legal process is a slow process. And, I think I've done all I can to show the public some evidence, not saying he's innocent or guilty. Who knows?
Only Mike Postle knows, I guess. But I mean,
Yeah.
I mean, when Veronica Brill brought this up and kind of put him out on display, how long did it take for you to actually say, well, maybe there's something about this? Did you believe her just right away, or was it like, nah? I mean, because accusing somebody of cheating is a big thing, especially in poker.
Absolutely. Well, I think she went to Joe Ingram first, and he did a great job with his live streams. Did you watch his live streams
Yeah,
when those were going on?
yeah, it was.
Yeah, every night.
Yeah,
This is incredible investigation. Like,
I didn't watch them all
it was,
like from A to B or from A to C. It was like I watched some of it because they were pretty long. Some of them were like 4 hours
yeah,
or something.
5-6 hours every night.
Yeah,
You can still rewatch them. I actually went back and rewatched them just to like relive those aha moments where like a crazy hand goes down and Joey's like, just another hand, nothing to see here. Doesn't prove anything. It's just one hand. Okay, let's watch another hand. Oh wow, great play, Mike. Okay, next hand.
yeah,
Interesting. But when she came forward and messaged Joe Ingram, put it out there on Twitter, when I played with him those few times, the words cheating never came up. A strange thing did happen when I was at Stones. I was playing just a small like 1-2 or 1-3 game before the main game started, which I think was like 5-10 with a 25 straddle, which is a pretty big cash game. I'm not really a cash game player, but they wanted me there for the tournament and the live stream. I was like, yeah, I get to play with Chris Moneymaker. And when the tournament director, Justin Caratus, came over to my table and said, hey, you want to play in the live stream tonight or do you want to commentate? Because I was cool with either. I kind of wanted to do commentary. I thought I might have a future in poker commentary at the time. I thought it was a good opportunity. I said, whatever you want me to do, it's fine. He's like, well, we do have a couple commentators, so you can hop in the game. $1,000 minimum buy-in. You can top up to the biggest stack. And I'm like, wow, it's going to be a pretty big game. And then a few of the locals at my table that said, oh, you're playing in the big game? You're going to play with Postle. And I was like, huh? Who's Postle? And they go, oh, he's the best. I'm like, huh, never heard of him. He must just be like a local legend or something. And I said, what makes him the best? And they said, one guy said he runs better than anybody, which I thought was kind of weird. Like, he runs good. I mean, everybody runs the same over the long term. And then another person said he's the best bluffer ever. And I was like, huh, best bluffer? How do you become the best bluffer? And I just kind of shook it off. And I was like, okay, well, I'll try not to play mini pots with him if he's just the best cash game player in all of California. Okay. And then even another guy, Jamin Burton, who also has poker vlogs.
Yeah, I
I
watch
talked
him
to him
too.
before I played, and he said something along the lines, "Yeah, he's sick. He's a great player." But no one ever said, he's doing some shady things. He might have access to the whole cards, the back end. So I didn't think anything of it. He was real friendly with Chris Moneymaker. Apparently, they were good friends, which is no longer the case, as I'm sure Chris felt very deceived in the aftermath. And just a real unfortunate situation. And I really just feel bad for the locals. Like Joey said in a lot of his videos, when he'd watch these hands back, and you got Mike just laughing at people right in their faces as he just owns them in these improbable hands. These aren't professional poker players. They're there to have a good time. These Stones live stream games were like some of the funnest games you can ever imagine. And he's there just not making it fun for a lot of people.
Yeah. You played with him, and you said that he was a good guy when you met him, and I mean, most people I saw interviews with said he was friendly and stuff like that. But what was he like? Was he a friendly guy? Is he a friendly guy? I mean,
I didn't converse. I just played with him twice. One time was a 5-10 half PLO, half no limit game. And allegedly, he did not have any superpowers during this game. So he lost a lot of big hands in Omaha that were pretty standard that he might have not lost in other situations. The next day was the 5-10-25 game with his buddy, whose name is Jackass, who's a real action player. And I think he played a lot differently that day. I didn't notice the crotch looking because he wasn't in my view, and my mind didn't even look for that in the moment. But if you rewatch the stream, you can see a lot of different mannerisms, and just looking back at it, it's all just really unfortunate. But I never really hung out with him after the stream or anything like that. Didn't have any drinks or didn't really get to know him at all, other than those 2 sessions that I played at Stones. What was it, 8 months ago now?
looking back at those sessions, is there anything that comes to mind where you said, yeah, maybe? I mean, hindsight is always 2020, and people are like, a lot of people after Veronica came out might have had a reason to say that they knew that he was cheating, or they had a feeling that he was cheating. Did anything like that ever occur to you, that he was cheating while you were playing with him?
No, there was just no signs of it, and that's just not something that my brain would even process for that to happen on a live stream game, due to all the cameras. You're like, this is a safe environment. It's just a friendly casino. Everybody's having a good time. He did beat me in a huge PLO pot, but I mean, I had second set versus top set, queens versus aces, and I had a straight and a flush draw on the turn, and we got $1,500 in each or something, so $3K pot. Pretty standard. I don't think anything too out of the ordinary there, but I just think his demeanor was different during the PLO game compared to the next day when it was all no limit. But a lot of people argue, or even when he was on the Mike Matusow podcast, doing his only interview, and on his Twitter, his responses to people saying, "Oh, he never makes a bad call at showdown." Well, he was incorrect a few times. A few times. A few of these times, he might have not had the superpower abilities, and another time, it was so obvious that he couldn't fold. He had he had a underboat, and he just check called. He's like, "Oh, got a bigger boat." like it'd be like way more obvious to fold a full house on this board with this action. And like his other proof of evidence that he put on his Twitter was he just called the river with the nut flush on a paired board when a guy had a straight flush. It's like, I could have folded my flush there. It's like, no, you didn't go all in when you had a flush.
But I mean, that's one of the things that we talked about also on the podcast. Is this was pretty much a perfect scam. He could have been doing this for years if he hadn't gone greedy on it. Because I mean, as you said, he was making the perfect calls on the river every time, or 99.9% of the times, and he could have just gone doing this forever if he just slowed down and hadn't been that greedy, I guess.
Yeah, it would allegedly appear that greed was too strong, and I can understand it's got to. I mean, ethics aside, if you were given a super user account for an online site or something, if you just had no ethics and you didn't care about that you were cheating, I'd imagine that would be quite the rush to just crush every tournament, crush every cash game. And the more greed you get, the more it just snowballs. Be like, wow, I won 50K today. If I win 50K every day, that's, $10 million or whatever. But what if I won 100K? Then that's $20 million. I can, it's just like, there's no letting off the gas, I'd assume, in that type of mindset. So, and then, there's other factors. Maybe he had financial issues. Maybe there's someone else he had to compensate to make this happen. So maybe the profits weren't all his profits. A lot of other factors to consider, but like the pure greed allegedly is pretty damning, and which ultimately makes it very suspicious.
Yeah. Obviously, we don't know if he did it, so all of this is just speculations.
All alleged.
Yeah.
100%. I'm not a lawyer. I'm not accusing anybody of anything, and my thoughts and opinions are of my own, or whatever.
Well, yeah. Well, do you think this will ever go to trial, or will it be? I mean, there's a difference between a civilian lawsuit and a like when he gets criminal lawsuit. Yeah. Do you think he will ever get to criminal lawsuit?
I think the civil suit is three $10 million claims, which is mainly against the casino, because apparently the defendant doesn't have money to even pay out anything, so can't really sue him for stuff he doesn't have. So you're pretty much just suing the casino, but they already released a statement saying that they're not responsible for anything that happens in the casino, more or less. It's not our responsibility to protect the players against cheating. I might have that misworded, but it seemed pretty ridiculous to even put that out there. And they're denying anything happened. I think just a guess, I think they're going to settle. Basically pay all the players back that were affected, and admit no wrongdoing, and just saying, all right, we're good. Everybody got their money back. Let's sweep this under the rug, compared to go to court, which, lawyers, very expensive. The whole process is take years, I'm sure, and proving it, not proving it. The bad publicity for the casino. Has the damage already been done? Are they trying to save their name and show that there was no cheating? Not sure. As far as the criminal proceedings, if I had to bet, I'd bet that he allegedly, metaphorically, does not do any jail time, as a jury of 12 non-poker players would have a hard time realizing guilt, unless they have a smoking gun, such as cell phone records or some other electronic data records that is concrete evidence. Like I said, I'm no lawyer. They could say everything's circumstantial. They could say I had sex with Pamela Anderson, But I can deny it, and I can say just because there's a condom that has my DNA on it doesn't mean I had sex with her. You know, it's all circumstantial.
Yeah.
But it just makes me think, like, in the criminal justice system, what percentage of people go to trial that probably are not guilty, are like falsely accused? Like, you think people just randomly get accused of stuff? And like, you ever think about that? Like, like,
Yeah, but I
what
mean,
percentage of people? Yeah, like, do you ever? How many people go to trial that are 100% innocent? Like, they probably did it, and it's just a matter of proving that they did it, right?
I've seen some shows on Netflix that, I mean, kind of scared me a little bit because, I mean, there were some people who got,
Steve Avery,
yeah, stuff like that.
you saw
But
that one?
yeah, that was very uh, popular in Denmark as well.
Oh,
The
okay.
most recent show I've seen is the Tiger King show. You seen
Oh
that?
yeah. Oh yeah.
That's
They even put out there. They did like a follow up too. You see
yeah,
that there's a new episode
yeah,
with Hal Sparks. He interviews the people.
yeah. Yeah. That's a crazy show. That is a crazy
Yeah.
show. But
Wild shit, man.
yeah, I mean, speaking of people who are presumed guilty, I mean, Carol Baskin is, I don't know, she. It seems like it doesn't look too good. Okay, we're back. We just had a small technical problem here, but yeah, wrapping it up, Jeff. Thank you so much for taking your time to talk to me tonight. It's been real interesting hearing about the situation in Vegas and yeah, just what it's like to be a pro poker player in Vegas.
Yeah, it's every day's different. Quite the journey. Well, except for like the last 40 days have been pretty monotonous. Staying at home, playing on America's Card Room. But yeah, it's not an occupation I recommend for many. I'd say it's better to have it poker as a hobby. Balance your life with work, friends, family, and poker compared to going all in on poker. But I do really appreciate you having me on, Casper. I'll be sure to share this on social media. And I appreciate you watching my vlogs, and check me out on Twitch at Jeff Boski. I'm streaming ACR tournaments almost every day. If you don't have an account, now is the time to sign up. Use bonus code Boski to get a 200% deposit bonus if you use Bitcoin on your first deposit. I play as the Boski on America's Card Room.
That that is perfect. Um, I think that's about it, Jeff. So as you used to say, I'm out.
And we're out.
Exactly. Thank you so much, Jeff, for taking the time, and hopefully we can have you on another time in the future.
Very good. Let me know when you come to Vegas. We'll meet up for a beer or something.
I would love to do that. Thank you so much.